Okay, so this is a quick video on all the things that can go wrong if hypothyroidism is not treated. So this is all the things that the thyroid can affect. I don't think anyone's ever done a video on this, and I've seen lots of videos on the thyroid. So I thought I would do this because I don't think most people realize how critical the thyroid is and how much it affects, okay? You probably heard that the thyroid is the master metabolism gland, if you will. So it controls your entire body, every cell. It affects every cell in the body in terms of its metabolism, mitochondria, etc. But just saying that, I don't think really communicates, at least it didn't communicate to me, how much and how in depth. What does that mean in terms of a knock-on effect if something goes wrong and your thyroid levels are too low? Now, I'm specifically talking about hypothyroidism. Hyperthyroidism is a totally different monster on the other side of the spectrum. So hypo is too low, hyper is too high. So you can almost take everything I'm saying and reverse it to the opposite. So if you get slowed heart rate from hypothyroid, you'll get fast heart rate, faster sped up heart rate, or tachycardia from high thyroid, etc. But here we go. Brain and nervous system. So thyroidism, thyroid hormones are critical for your brain energy and brain function. Common issues: brain fog, poor focus, slow processing, depression, low motivation, anxiety, memory lapses, word finding difficulty, peripheral neuropathy, tingling, numbness, and burning in extremities, poor stress resilience, sleep disruption or insomnia, low HRV, and poor parasympathetic tone. Cardiovascular system: bradycardia, which is slowed heart rate, decreased cardiac output, fatigue, low exercise tolerance, high diastolic blood pressure. So that's high blood pressure, basically the upper number of the two numbers. Now the problem with that is that means that your veins are being, or your arteries are being opened too much, which puts stress on the walls of it, and that's actually worse than the high systolic number, which is the lower number. Not that either are good, but it's damaging, and it's definitely a problem. Increased LDL and triglycerides, which leads to a higher atherosclerosis risk, which is the calcification of your arteries. So that's where you get the plaquing on the lining of your arteries, which can result in stroke and heart attacks. Okay, very important. Um, Pericardial, let me put this in simple terms. Fluid around the heart in severe cases. So it can build up, you can get fluid building up around the heart with too much hypothyroidism going on. Palpitations or tachycardia during Hashimoto's swing. So with hypothyroidism, if you have Hashimoto's, you can also get fast heart rate or tachycardia episodes, because what's in a Hashimoto's scenario, because what happens is your thyroid is under attack constantly, and as certain parts of the thyroid get attacked, they can release and bomb your system with thyroid in spurts. So you can get a sudden hyperthyroidism, and then it goes back to hypothyroidism, and eventually your thyroid can be destroyed by that attacking mechanism. So just so you understand why that would be. Poor circulation, cold hands and feet. Um, yeah, I won't say one of these. Some of these things I'm going to not say just because it's too technical, but I'm going to try to paraphrase it. Respiratory system: shortness of breath on exertion, sleep apnea, reduced muscle tone and upper airway collapse, shallow breathing, low CO2 tolerance, low HRV patterns. Digestive system: the gut is extremely thyroid sensitive. You're going to get constipation, slowed motility, bloating, gas, sluggish digestion, low stomach acid, which is an increased risk for H. pylori, by the way, which you don't want, and increased risk for malabsorption, which you don't want. Dysbiosis or SIBO, like if you don't have enough motion, your system is supposed to move. Waste processes are supposed to move out. You're supposed to be regular. If you don't have a lot of that happening and things start building up, you start building up toxins. You start building up toxins, you start building up more bad bacteria, etc., and it's a vicious circle. Dwindling spiral. Okay, so gallbladder sluggishness, poor fat digestion, leaky gut, and immune activation, especially in Hashimoto's. So Hashimoto's is a specific form of hypothyroidism. Hypothyroidism isn't necessarily always Hashimoto's, but Hashimoto's causes hypothyroidism. Hashimoto's is a specific autoimmune disease, which is where your thyroid is actually not the problem. What's happening is you have autoimmune, which means your body is self-attacking, and it's attacking specifically your thyroid. And because your thyroid is under attack, it is not able to function properly, and it's reducing in size, literally, like it's being attacked and destroyed. And if you let that continue and you don't manage it, eventually you lose your thyroid altogether, and you must be on thyroid supplements or prescription drugs at that point, because you cannot stay alive without it. So it is a very dark path if you don't manage and get and eliminate the things in your system that are creating or continuing to keep your antibodies high and keep you in autoimmune inflammation, if you will, and you've got to eliminate and change whatever's happening that is producing those antibodies or and keeping your system inflamed and attacking your thyroid, basically. And it's primarily diet. I'll probably do a totally separate video on that subject because there's a lot to it, but diet is a critical thing. And I'll just say right now, gluten, dairy, sugar, processed foods, and vegetable and seed oils are a no-go if you have Hashimoto's. There are very few exceptions of people with Hashimoto's who can get away with a little bit of A2 or goat dairy, but most of them can't either. Dairy is very inflammatory generally, and for Hashimoto's specifically, the dairy proteins are very similar to the proteins of your thyroid, so they tend to keep signaling this attack, if you will. So just mentioning that there. And sugar is detrimental. Alcohol, no. Like these things are very harmful to people with autoimmune. Specifically, they're harmful in general, and honestly, they're just harmful, but they're particularly detrimental if you have Hashimoto's because they directly make things worse. Endocrine and hormonal system. Adrenal fatigue, menstrual irregularities, PMS and mood swings, estrogen dominance, low progesterone. This is all from hypothyroidism. Infertility or early miscarriage, common if untreated. Low libido, blood sugar dysregulation. So low thyroid hormone can result in insulin resistance. Low DHEA, low testosterone affecting muscle tone and drive. Altered melatonin rhythms, sleep problems. Muscular system, muscle weakness, pain or stiffness, joint and swelling in the hands especially. Slow recovery after exercise. Carpal tunnel syndrome from fluid accumulation in your carpal tunnels. Increased risk of osteoporosis if over replaced with thyroid meds, so if you get too much. Slowed mitochondrial energy production in muscle cells. Okay, mitochondria is the powerhouse of every cell in your body. Okay, so it's massive in terms of the effect of thyroid. Immune system, chronic inflammation, and auto antibody production, which is the autoimmune attack aspect. Reactivation of latent viruses, Epstein-Barr. If you have viruses in your body, hypothyroidism will reactivate them. Not good. Food sensitivity is due to leaky gut and immune cross-reactivity, increased risk of other autoimmune diseases. So one autoimmune disease, if unhandled and unmanaged, and you don't change your diet and you don't get rid of the toxins and the perfumes in your clothes and whatever is triggering your system, if you don't get rid of that stuff and you just kind of are stubborn about it, it can result in making matters far worse, because autoimmune in and of itself is terrible, but having multiple autoimmunes is a recipe for disaster and can be fatal, honestly. Fatigue from constant immune activation. Blood system, anemia, pale skin, fatigue, low oxygen delivery, low ferritin despite adequate diet, sluggish bone marrow output. Okay. Skin, hair, and nails, dry, flaky, rough skin, hair loss, especially the outer eyebrows, scalp thinning, and brittle hair, slow hair regrowth, brittle nails, ridging, splitting, pale and puffy face, slow wound healing, Vitiligo association, it's an autoimmune. So again, one autoimmune leads to another. So people with Hashimoto's often have vitiligo. As you can see, I'm a testament to this. That's why I really had to deal with this. And that's why I know about it. Okay, liver and detox. So when you have hypothyroidism, poor T4 to T3 conversion. So your liver has trouble converting your T4, which is the storage form of thyroid, if you will, to T3, which is the active form that your cells actually use to metabolize and stuff. Elevated, I won't say that one. It's fine. It's fine. I'll have to explain it. Impaired phase 1 and phase 2 detox pathways. So basically, your body's ability to detox is impaired. Sluggish bile flow, elevated liver enzymes in severe hyperthyroidism, fatty liver due to poor fat metabolism, mood, energy, and cognitive function, chronic fatigue, lethargy, apathy, low motivation, depression, low mood, anxiety in mixed or early Hashimoto states, feeling cold, low body temperature, reproductive system, irregular or non-existent cycles, heavy or prolonged bleeding, infertility or early miscarriage, polycystic ovarian changes via insulin resistance, that's caused by insulin resistance, and bad diet. Again, a lot of this is really goes back to diet because all of these knock-on effects to the thyroid are really, a lot of them come from the diet. Almost every one of them can be reversed or improved by managing diet. Early menopause or severe menopausal symptoms. Metabolism and weight regulation, weight gain, especially around the hips and thighs, difficulty losing weight despite diet exercise. So this is not menopause or perimenopause. This is hypothyroidism. Obviously, if you're in menopause or perimenopause, you're going to get similar systems. So if you have both at the same time, it's really going to affect you. Fluid retention, cold intolerance, low resting metabolic rate, hypoglycemia or postprandial crashes, so after you eat crashes. Autonomic nervous system connection, reduced HRV, higher resting heart rates, fatigue with stress recovery, wired but tired, sleep disturbances and temperature dysregulation. And that is the basic summary of hypothyroidism. So, if you have hypothyroidism, my suggestion to you is you must address it. So, I've had some people be like, oh, yeah, I have hypothyroidism, but I'm fine and I don't have any symptoms. I made that mistake and neglected it for years because I did not really understand it or appreciate it. And most of the time when things went wrong with my body, they kind of resolved themselves, so I didn't worry much about them. So I can tell you now, approaching this particular situation that way is the worst thing to do. You must address it. I have been suffering badly from my mistakes in this area. I have suffered badly from the mistakes I have made on this, and things got so much worse for me because I did not address them as fast as I should have or as aggressively as I should have. I was resentful about having to change things on my diet, and I was like protesting the whole thing, and I was protesting not feeling like I needed to do it, and it's hard in social situations and social pressures, and you just kind of want to be back to normal, but the ignoring of it doesn't make it go away. It makes it worse. And I'm just giving you my experience. I'm not saying you're doing that. I'm telling you the mistake I made, and I suffered bad consequences from it. So I really want to share this with everyone else so that you don't make the same mistake. And if I can help you in any way, because I've learned a lot and I've gotten my autoimmune into remission and I've turned my thyroid levels around. So I know things that have worked, and I've tried everything that didn't work too. I've tried a lot and I've done a lot. So if I can help, it's my pleasure because I feel like I can use what I've gone through to help other people avoid the same pitfalls and manage this well and actually be able to turn around and live a relatively normal and healthy and happy life. And I think that's priceless.